Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today, and we're going to be looking at Computer Age Management Services Limited.
Kim.
CAMS, that's right. And they're behind the scenes, but they're handling a lot of India's mutual fund transactions. So we're talking, like opening accounts, processing all those transactions, keeping records, and making sure everything is compliant and on the up and up.
Really the operational backbone of a lot of these investments.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? We're not just looking at dry numbers. We want to figure out what these numbers tell us about what's happening in India. Like what are the trends in investments in India?
Well, and CAMS is often a really good indicator of what's going on in the entire industry.
And what are they saying?
And what they're reporting is, well, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, their revenue is up a lot, right? It's up 32.7% year on year.
It's a massive leap. They're at 36,517.21 lakh.
What is driving this crazy growth?
Well, I mean, in part, the entire market in India is experiencing this surge.
Okay.
And they're right in the middle of it all. They processed 1 lakh crore of net sales in just the quarter.
Whoa.
To give you an idea of the scale, we're talking about processing the GDP of a small country in 3 months.
That is a powerful image. It's very clear that Indian investors they want those mutual funds. But there's, one area in particular that caught my eye, and that was, equity investments. Those are up even more, right?
Yeah, a lot more. 59.4% year on year.
Yeah, and CAM's growth in equity assets, it's outpacing the whole industry growth.
That's right. They're at almost 66% market share in the equity segment now. So it's not just the market rising, they're getting a bigger and bigger piece of the pie.
So what's that telling you? What's the takeaway here for our listeners?
I think that Indian investors are feeling pretty good about the stock market's future.
Okay, yeah.
And they're choosing CAMS to handle a lot of those investments.
Right. So if you're thinking about getting into, the Indian equity market, this is definitely a trend to watch.
Absolutely. Now, there's another trend emerging here. It suggests a bit of a shift in how people are investing. Do you remember SIPs? Those systematic investment plans?
Ah, SIPs, yeah.
Set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Disciplined.
Steady.
Right. Well, they're increasingly popular. CAMS actually clocked a record 1.2 crore new SIP registrations just in this last quarter.
Wow. Okay, so that's a massive influx, right? That must suggest that there's a growing preference for, steady long-term strategies.
I think so.
As opposed to, trying to time the market.
It seems that way. I think this shift to consistent investing, it could actually be a sign of a more stable market long term.
Yeah.
It's like building, a solid foundation brick by brick, rather than relying on those risky short-term bets.
Yeah, I like that analogy. Okay, so we always like a good twist, right?
Yeah.
And here's one. While they're doing mutual funds, that's their bread and butter, but CAMS is actually branching out.
That's right. Their non-mutual fund revenue is up too.
By how much?
It's a pretty healthy 31.9%.
Okay, so they're going into new territory. What are they getting into?
A few things, actually. They've launched CAMS Alternatives, which is a platform for alternative investments, and CAMS KRA, which is offering KYC registration agency services.
Oh, okay. And then there's CAMS Pay, right?
That's right. That's their digital payments platform.
And Bima Central, which is doing some pretty cool stuff in the insurance world.
It really is they're building a whole financial ecosystem.
Yeah, yeah.
Smart strategy, I think. They're using their existing expertise, their technology, expanding into new areas that have, a lot of potential.
Right. But hold on. Where are they setting up shop for all this? Because
Yeah.
the report mentions Gift City, and I'm not sure all of our listeners are going to know what that is.
Yeah, it stands for Gujarat International Finance Tech City.
Okay.
It's a special economic zone
Where?
in Gujarat.
Yeah.
And it's designed to be a global financial hub. You can think of it like India's answer to, Wall Street, attracting all these big financial institutions from around the world.
Wow. So KMS is doubling down there.
Yeah. They're opening a second office in Gift City.
What for?
It's to cater to their growing clientele. They've got over 20 asset management companies operating there.
Wow. So they're right in the heart of all that action, in India's rapidly changing financial world.
It's a really strategic move.
Okay, so all this expansion and diversification, that wouldn't be possible without a good, strong foundation.
Exactly. And CAMS seems to be very serious about that foundation.
Yeah, they're super committed to technology, right? I mean, they've got a bunch of platforms and apps.
They do, like MyCAMS, CAMServe, Edge 360, and WealthServe 360.
So they're not just embracing technology. They're shaping it to fit the needs of investors.
Exactly. Think about it. Millions of transactions, mountains of data, all kinds of different clients.
Yeah,
Technology is the key to keeping things running smoothly.
right.
Yeah,
Efficient, keeping things secure, keeping the customers happy.
absolutely.
And it's not just about profits anymore, is it? I mean, sustainability, good governance, those things are becoming really important in the financial world.
Very important. And KMS, they get that.
Yeah. They talk about reducing their carbon footprint, promoting diversity and inclusion, making sure their business practices are ethical.
And investors are noticing that. They're looking at a company's values, not just their bottom line.
Right. They want to see that commitment to a sustainable future. Okay, so we've covered a lot, right? We've got impressive growth, shift towards equity investments, those SIPs. We talked about diversification, all those new sectors they're getting into, the technology, the sustainability, and this whole strategic expansion in Gift City. Clearly, CAMS is like a major player, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Shaping India's financial landscape. But before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, we've got to share one more little juicy tidbit.
Yes. The thing that's going to make investors smile, right? They announced a dividend.
That's right. The CAMS board has approved a nice interim dividend of 25 per share, and that includes a special dividend of 10.50.
That's great news for shareholders, especially when you look at their overall financial health. Their EBITDA is up almost 40% year on year, and their return on net worth is a very healthy 47.5%.
So Canvas is firing on all cylinders, right? Strong growth, diversification, they're focused on the future, and they're rewarding their shareholders. But, what does this mean for you, the listener? That's what we're going to explore in the next part of our deep dive into CAMS.
It really is, and we look a little deeper into their financials. It's like we're getting this behind the scenes tour of like how they do it.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are you seeing in the numbers?
Well, let's look at EBITDA, right? That's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It's a good indicator of how profitable they are, and theirs is up like almost 40% year on year,
Wow,
which means they're getting way better at like turning revenue into actual profit.
that's good for investors.
It is.
Yeah.
But remember, we're not just looking for profit. We're looking for trends that can actually help, with your own investment decisions.
Right, exactly. So what else is like popping out at you from the numbers?
Well, their revenue breakdown, it actually shows a really cool trend. Remember we were talking about how CAMS is, diversifying beyond just mutual funds?
Yeah.
Well, that non-mutual fund revenue, it's actually becoming a pretty big chunk of their total revenue, like 12.9% of their total revenue now.
Okay, so it's not just talk, like they're actually doing it. And it seems to be working, this whole diversification thing. What's driving that non-mutual fund growth?
Well, some of their fastest growing segments are things like CAMS Alternatives,
Okay.
right? That's their platform for alternative investments.
Mm.
And then there's CAMSPay, their digital payments platform.
Right, right.
CAMS Alternatives, their revenue grew 21% year on year.
Okay.
But CAMSPay, that surged 69%.
Wow, it's like they have like multiple growth engines running at the same time.
Exactly. And they're placing themselves strategically in these like high growth areas. Remember Gift City?
Yeah.
They're expanding their presence there to get more clients and tap into that whole global financial network.
Right. Okay. So strong core business, they're diversifying, they're expanding strategically. And we talked about, technology, sustainability, good governance. It really does seem like CAMS is thinking ahead, planning for the future.
Absolutely. And we're just scratching the surface here, right? There's so much detail in their investor presentation. It's full of charts and graphs. You can really dig in and get a deeper understanding.
Yeah. If you like digging into the numbers, definitely go check that out. You can find that on their website. But for now, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the people behind the success.
The leadership. What's interesting is they've got such a depth of experience. Let's look at a few of the key players.
Okay.
So you got Anuj Kumar, the managing director. He's been with them since 2016.
Oh.
But before that, he held leadership positions at like Godrej and Boyce, Escorts Finance, even IBM India.
Wow, that is diverse.
And then you have Ramcharan Sesharaman, the chief financial officer. He joined in 2020, and he brought with him a ton of experience from Photon Interactive and Reliance Jio Infocom.
Okay. And there's Syed Hassan, the chief operating officer. He joined 2022, right?
That's right. He had a very successful career at like DXC Technology, Britannia Industries, and Unilever. It's fascinating to see all these different backgrounds coming together.
Yeah, it's like they handpicked leaders with very specific skills, to manage their diverse business.
Exactly. You've also got Ravi Katana, Chief Platform Officer, and his background includes companies like Godrich, Flextronics, HCL, Capgemini, Polaris Intellect, and FSS. I mean, he's definitely the brains behind all those digital platforms.
Yeah, yeah. And then you have Vinod Shilamthodi, the Chief Human Resources Officer. He joined just last year, right, in 2023.
That's right. He brought with him valuable experience from Accenture, GE, and Washington Mutual Bank. I mean, think about it. Managing the people at a company like Camus with all that growth and all those different areas they're working in.
Yeah, that's no small feat. So it's becoming clear that, Kama's success isn't just about numbers and strategies. It's about the people, right?
Mm.
The ones driving those strategies, the ones coming up with the innovations, and keeping everything running smoothly.
And let's not forget, they're amazing employees, like their IT team. Over 850 qualified professionals.
Keeping those complex systems running.
Right. They're the backbone of their whole tech strategy.
Yeah, and they're really invested in training, right? The report mentioned over 86,000 hours invested in training just this year.
Keeping the team ahead of the curve, it's so smart.
Absolutely. And it seems to be paying off. They've got a 97.6% customer satisfaction rate,
Remarkable.
which really shows their commitment to providing a good experience, for their clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so powerhouse leadership, a dedicated workforce, and a culture that really focuses on the customer. But let's go back in time for a second and look at how CAMS got to where they are today.
Okay, little history lesson. Tell me the story.
Well, it's a story of ambition, innovation, and resilience, really.
Yeah.
They've come a long way since their humble beginnings back in 1988.
So they started as a small company, right? Privately held.
Yeah, and now look at them. Publicly listed powerhouse.
Wow.
There have been a lot of big moments along the way. Like in '93, they got this major recognition from SEBI,
To SEBI.
the Securities and Exchange Board of India. They authorized CAMSEBs to act as a registrar to an issue, which basically means they were handling the process of issuing new securities to the public.
Okay, so they were starting to make their mark.
Exactly. And then in '95, SEBI upgraded their registration, authorizing them to act as both a registrar to an issue and a share transfer agent,
So they were handling the transfer of ownership of shares.
expanding their role in the capital market. Yeah.
Okay, so they were becoming the go-to people for the entire life cycle of securities, from issuing them to transferring them.
That's a really important role.
Yeah. So what happened next?
Well, they kept diversifying. In 2006 and 2007, they became a depository participant for both NSDL and CDSL.
Okay, for our listeners who might not know, what's a depository?
Think of it like a bank, but for securities.
Okay.
So instead of having a physical share certificate, your shares are held electronically in a depository account.
Gotcha. So by becoming a depository participant, they could offer more services, right?
Exactly. Solidifying their place in the whole financial services ecosystem.
So they're expanding, becoming more and more important to the financial infrastructure,
Yeah.
laying the groundwork for more growth, it seems like.
Right. And their growth continued. Like in 2011, they ventured into the insurance sector. They incorporated CAMS Insurance Repository Services Limited, or RSL. And that subsidiary became a major player in the insurance repository business, showing again that CAMSES can diversify successfully.
Yeah, it's like they saw this opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And used their expertise in managing financial transactions and kind of created a whole new niche for themselves.
Precisely. And they kept going. In 2012, they established CAMS Investor Services Private Limited, or CISPL, which was later authorized to operate as a KYC registration agency.
KYC, that's
No,
know your customer.
That's it. It's all about verifying the client's identity to prevent things like fraud and money laundering.
Really important in finance.
Crucial. And by becoming a KYC registration agency, they could now offer this essential service to their clients.
Right, so they were building this really comprehensive set of services, like becoming a one-stop shop.
Exactly.
But 2013, that seems like a big year.
It was. Two big things happened. First, CRSL, their insurance repository subsidiary, they got a certificate of registration from IRDI, the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India.
Gotcha.
So they had the official go-ahead to operate in this new and growing market. Huge.
Yeah. So what was the second big thing?
They acquired Sterling Software Private Limited. They bought the whole thing, 100%.
What did Sterling do?
They were a tech company. It was a strategic move to boost their technology capabilities.
Okay, so they were expanding, but they were also making sure they had the tech to support that expansion. a recurring theme, it seems.
For sure. Technology has been key to their growth and diversification.
And they didn't stop there, right? They kept investing in tech. In 2016, they set up CAMS Financial Information Services Private Limited, or CFISPL.
Yep, to push into even more areas of the financial world.
Ambitious. And then in 2018, Great Terrain invested.
That's right, a private equity firm. They bought a 37.5% stake in CAMS.
Okay, so they had some serious investors who saw their potential.
Definitely. And in 2019, that potential became even more obvious because they converted to a public limited company. And Great Terrain upped their stake to 43.53%. They were setting the stage for their IPO.
The big time.
Right. And then in 2020, they listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange.
Wow, a major milestone.
It was. They were open to a whole new world of investors. And it showed their commitment to transparency and good corporate governance. But that's not all that happened in 2020. They also got authorization from the Reserve Bank of India to operate as an account aggregator.
Remind our listeners, what's an account aggregator?
It's like a platform that lets you consolidate and share your financial data from different institutions. Securely, of course, and only with your consent.
So like a digital dashboard for your finances.
Exactly. And this was CAMS positioning themselves at the front of this digital financial services revolution in India.
They really had their finger on the pulse, always looking ahead.
They were. And that same year, they launched CAMSPay, their digital payments arm.
Showing that they were ready to jump into the digital payments market.
No fear of new technology, that's for sure. Then, in 2021, they got certified as a credit reference agency. Even more diversification.
So they were becoming this really comprehensive player in the financial ecosystem, providing more and more services.
Right. And in 2022, they went live with those credit reference agency services and acquired a majority stake in Fintuple Technologies Private Limited.
Who are Fintuple?
They're a fintech company specializing in, like, digital onboarding.
So strategically acquiring companies, getting the technology they needed to expand, making sense.
And they didn't forget about innovation. They launched an innovation lab at IIT Madras.
Wow! Investing in the future.
Absolutely. And then 2023 was a big year, particularly for payments. CAMSPay got in-principle authorization from the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, to operate as a payment aggregator.
So they could process payments for merchants. Big step.
Yeah, they were stepping right into the heart of the digital economy. And to really boost their tech in this area, they bought a majority stake in Think360 AI, a data science company.
Strategically building that platform, step by step.
Exactly. And they kept innovating. That year, they also launched Compare It Now, a platform for real estate investment trusts, never standing still.
Always exploring new opportunities, pushing the boundaries. So what about 2024? They got that final approval from the RBI for payments, right?
They did. CAMSPay was officially a player in the digital payments space. That was a big win.
It was.
Quite a journey, isn't it? From a small private company to a publicly listed, technology-driven powerhouse in the financial services industry.
They've consistently shown that they can adapt, innovate, and grow. Impressive.
And their journey is marked by all these awards and recognition, too. They've really been recognized for their excellence.
Let's highlight a few. Like back in 2015, they won a Best App Award for their MyCamps app.
And Suracell, their insurance subsidiary, won a Best Newcomer Award at the Asia Insurance Technology Awards that same year.
Wow. So early on, they were getting recognized for their digital innovations and their work in the insurance sector.
Exactly. And in 2017, Suracell won a Solanit Award for their eye care services.
Which is all about
Customer service in the insurance sector, really showing that they were dedicated to providing a great customer experience.
Makes sense with their high customer satisfaction rate.
Right. And then in 2019, they were recognized for their use of technology. They got a highly commended Harnessing the Power of Technology Award at the Adam Smith Awards Asia.
Always pushing the envelope. So what about the 2020s? What kind of recognition did they get then?
Well, in 2020, the Tamil Nadu government recognized them as a star of fintech.
Wow. So not just their own success, but their impact on the whole industry.
And in 2021, CAMSPay won a Finoviti Award. Really solidified their reputation in the digital payments world.
They're making some serious waves in fintech.
And in 2022, they won the NASSCOM Cloud Innovator of the Year Award.
Cloud computing, digital transformation, they were at the forefront of it all.
They really were. And in 2023, they racked up even more awards, like a BW HR Excellence Award for their employee engagement strategy.
Oh.
An Economic Times Datacon Award for their smart data application software, and a Banking Frontiers Technovideo Award for implementing account aggregator-based bank account validation in their MyCAMS app.
Wow, so many different areas. Employee engagement, data analytics, technological innovation. They were getting recognized across the board.
And their subsidiaries were getting noticed too. Think 360 AI was included in FinTech Global's AI FinTech 100 list and got a Great Place to Work certification. That was in 2023 as well.
It's like their success was contagious, spreading to the companies they'd acquired. What about 2024? Any awards this year?
Oh yeah. Banking Frontiers Technovideo Awards recognized both CAMS FinServe and CAMS Pay for their innovative solutions.
They were on a roll.
Business World also honored CAMS FinServe with an award for their open banking solution. And Anish Salani, the CEO of CAMS Kara, got a Business World Award for Young Leader Under 40.
So they're fostering talent, recognizing their contributions. That's great to see.
And to top it all off, CAMSET's Insurance Repository received the Best Use of Technology Award at the Assocham 6th Edition Insurance Leaders Meet.
Wow, impressive. Awards across their entire business. Technology, innovation, customer service, employee engagement. They're really doing something right.
These awards show just how dedicated they are to excellence.
They're not content to just rest on their laurels, are they? They're constantly striving to improve. That's why they're so well positioned for the future.
Absolutely. To truly grasp how big this company is, let's delve into their shareholder information. It reveals quite a bit about who owns this dynamic company.
Okay, let's do it. As of September 30, 2024, their market capitalization is over 400 and 725 crore.
That's a big number.
Oh.
Even in finance, that's a big number. Reflects how well they're doing their position in the market.
It does. So who owns this company?
Well, the majority of their shares, about 56.53%, are owned by foreign portfolio investors. We call them FPIs.
Okay.
And that means there's a lot of global interest in the company. Investors from all over the world, they see the value and the potential in CAMS.
They've caught the eye of the global investment community.
They have. Domestic institutional investors own a good chunk too, though. Insurance companies own 11.98%, and mutual funds hold 4.87%. Established financial institutions have confidence in CAMS.
And when we look at the list of, their top holders, we see some pretty big names, like Fidelity Management and Research, the Goldman Sachs Group, Life Insurance Corporation of India. Those are some heavy hitters.
They are big players in the financial world choosing to invest in CAMS.
Yeah.
Speaks volumes about their credibility.
And there's more. The Vanguard Group, JP Morgan Chase & Co., White Oak Capital Group, Seafarer Capital Partners. It's a pretty diverse group.
Really global and diverse, which
Yep.
shows how much confidence there is in their future. And then the remaining 24.85% of shares, those are held by other investors, like retail investors and high net worth individuals.
So it's not just the big institutions, it's individual investors too.
Exactly. Accessible to all kinds of investors. But let's talk about something super important in their business, something that's absolutely crucial.
What's that?
Compliance
Yeah.
and risk management. They're handling such sensitive information. It's a highly regulated industry.
Yes, trust and security are paramount, right?
Absolutely. And CAMS seems to get that. They've got a really strong system in place to make sure they operate with integrity and keep everything secure.
So tell me about it. What do they do?
Well, they have a whole team dedicated to helping their mutual fund clients conduct due diligence on their investors, making sure they're meeting all the requirements.
Okay.
They make sure everyone is complying with all the regulations like KYC norms, SEBI guidelines, all of that. They're the gatekeepers, making sure everything is by the book and the system is safe and trustworthy.
It's a big responsibility.
It is, and they go above and beyond. They also provide anti-money laundering services,
Okay.
things like suspicious transaction reporting, to help their clients avoid financial crime.
So actively preventing financial crime.
Exactly. They've also got this cybersecurity and cyber resilience policy and a whole tech committee with top experts to review their systems regularly.
Multi-layered approach covering all their bases.
Exactly. Data privacy is a big focus for them. They've got ISO 27001.2013 certification for their information security systems, and high ratings from cybersecurity rating agencies.
Not just saying they're secure, they're proving it.
Right. But it's not just about checking boxes. It's about building a culture of compliance, doing business the right way. And that shows in their reputation, the trust their clients and investors have in them.
Okay, so we've got their impressive track record, commitment to compliance, that great leadership team. But what about the future? What's next for Calm? What are they aiming for?
They're definitely not resting on their laurels. They have a vision for the future, and they're working hard to achieve it.
So what are their priorities? What are they trying to achieve?
One thing is definitely expanding their market share in mutual fund services.
Mm.
They're already the leader, but they're not stopping there. They're always looking for ways to improve what they offer, improve their technology, and build stronger relationships with clients.
It's like they're saying, we're number one, but we can always do better.
Exactly. And remember, all those non-mutual fund businesses they're getting into, that's another priority, especially in alternative investments, digital payments, and insurance. They see those as big growth areas.
Smart, leveraging their expertise to expand into new markets.
Absolutely. And tech is a big focus too. They want to use technology to drive innovation and efficiency, investing in AI, machine learning, all those cutting-edge things to automate processes, improve customer experience, and come up with new products and services.
Building that digital engine for the future.
Exactly. And it's not just about India. They also want to expand geographically. They're already in Gift City, and they're looking at other regions, both India and internationally.
Thinking big, aiming for global reach.
They are. And they're committed to doing it right, too. Sustainability and good governance are very important to them. They see that as key to long-term success.
Investors and customers want more than just profits. They want ethical and sustainable businesses.
Exactly. And Camus is showing that you could do both. But they're not alone, right? There's competition. In the mutual fund registrar and transfer agent, or RTA, business, their biggest rival is Kaysen Technologies.
Okay. How do they stack up?
Well, CAMS has the larger market share. Right now, they service about 68% of the industry's assets under management.
Hmm.
But Kayfen is a strong competitor.
So it's like a two-horse race at the top?
Kind of.
Yeah.
And Camus has been able to stay ahead because they have a lot of experience, a really good tech platform, strong relationships with those asset management companies, and they're committed to customer service.
Sounds like a winning combination.
It has been. But in those other areas, like digital payments and all that, they're facing competition from a lot of different players.
Okay, like who?
Well, in digital payments, you've got Paytm, PhonePe, Google Pay, even. Those are big names.
Yeah, they're all fighting for the same customers.
Exactly. And in alternative investments, they've got established players like Edelweiss and IFL to contend with, plus all these new fintech platforms popping up.
Yeah.
It's a crowded market.
Sounds like a tough landscape. Can they handle it?
Well, they have a solid track record, they understand the Indian market, and they're committed to innovation. I think they have a good chance.
The experience, the knowledge, and the willingness to adapt. Important in a competitive landscape.
Absolutely. They're expanding what they offer, using technology to stay competitive, and always looking for ways to improve. But there are always challenges, right? Things they need to be aware of.
Of course, no company is perfect. What are some of the potential hurdles they might face?
Well, regulatory changes are always a concern. It's a highly regulated industry, and any changes could mean new costs or even impact their whole business model.
The rules can change, and you have to be ready to adapt.
Exactly. Like changes to KYC rules or data privacy regulations, those could mean big investments in their systems.
Yeah, the cost of doing business.
Right. And then there's always competition, like we were talking about.
That never goes away.
It doesn't. More competition could mean they have to lower their fees or lose market share.
It's a constant battle.
And then you've got tech disruption. Things are changing so fast with blockchain, AI, cloud computing. They all have the potential to change the way everything works.
Technology can be a powerful tool, but it can also disrupt everything.
Right. CAMS has to stay ahead of those trends, keep investing in innovation, can't fall behind.
Always looking ahead.
And then there's the economy. If the Indian economy slows down, that's going to mean less investment activity, less business for CAMS.
The economy affects everyone.
It does. They have to be ready for those ups and downs, adjust their strategies accordingly.
And of course, there's cybersecurity. Always a concern when you're dealing with sensitive financial information.
Huge concern. Hackers are always trying to find new ways in, so CAMS has to stay vigilant, invest in their defenses.
Protecting themselves and their clients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, they have a great track record of managing risk and adapting. They have good risk management system in place. They're always watching the competition, and they're keeping an eye on those tech trends.
Thinking strategically, planning for the future.
Right. And they have a solid financial position, which means they can weather storms and invest in growth. They're not just looking at the short term, they're building for the long haul.
Okay, so they're aware of the risks and they're taking steps to mitigate them. But let's zoom out for a second and think about the bigger picture. What does CAM's success tell us about the Indian financial services industry?
Well, one thing is clear. It's growing and changing rapidly. The middle class is growing, financial literacy is increasing, and the government is pushing for financial inclusion. All of that means more demand for financial products and services.
The industry is becoming more accessible, more relevant to more people.
Exactly. And Camps is in a great position to benefit from all of that. They have the experience, the tech, the partnerships, it's all there.
They're in the right place at the right time.
They are. Another takeaway is that technology is becoming super important in finance. Canvas is successful because they've embraced technology, streamlined their processes, improved customer experience, and developed new things.
Leading the digital transformation.
For sure. And then you've got sustainability and good governance. Those are becoming more and more important too. Investors and customers want to see companies operating ethically and responsibly.
It's not just about profits anymore.
It's not. And Campus is responding to that. They're integrating those principles into everything they do, showing that you can be successful and responsible at the same time.
Okay, so Campus is more than just a successful company. It's kind of like a symbol of what's happening in the Indian financial services industry. Their growth, their diversification, their commitment to innovation and sustainability, it all tells us something about the future.
It does. And now let's shift our focus to something a little different. They're corporate social responsibility initiatives. They're not just focused on profits, they also want to give back and make a positive impact.
I love that. It's great to see companies who care about more than just the bottom line.
Absolutely. Their CSR activities focus on a few key areas: education, healthcare, and community development.
Areas that often need more support. So what are they doing specifically?
Well, they support educational programs for kids who don't have access to quality education, trying to help them build a better future.
Investing in the next generation? Love it.
They also contribute to healthcare programs, trying to improve access to healthcare services for communities that need it.
Healthcare is so important. Everyone deserves access to good healthcare.
Exactly. And they're also involved in community development projects, tackling things like sanitation, infrastructure, and creating livelihoods, taking a really holistic approach.
They're really going all in on this.
They are. Their CSR initiatives are in line with their commitment to sustainability, that desire to make a positive impact on the world. They're not just donating money, they're actively working with communities, trying to make a real difference.
Okay, so they're walking the talk. That's fantastic. But let's shift gears for a moment and think about the long-term implications of their business model and their strategic initiatives. It's not just about their own success, it's about the broader impact they're having on the financial landscape.
They are. It's really great to see. But you're right. It's not just about them. Their impact goes way beyond their own success. One of the biggest things I see is that they have the potential to make financial services in India accessible to, like, everyone.
Democratize, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Think about their platform. It's driven by technology, and they're focused on digital inclusion. So it doesn't matter if you're a big-time investor in Mumbai or someone in a small village with a smartphone. You can be a part of the financial system now.
It's like they're leveling the playing field,
Mm.
creating opportunities for people who might not have had them before.
Yeah, and their expansion into things like digital payments and insurance, that's helping too, especially in rural areas. They're connecting the old financial system with the new digital world. Yeah. Making things more accessible and affordable for everybody.
So it's not just about serving the existing market, they're actually making the market bigger by bringing in new people.
That's right. And it's not just about access either. They're creating jobs.
Mm.
As they grow, they need more people in all sorts of areas.
Mm-hmm.
Tech, finance, customer service operations.
So it's a ripple effect. Their success is creating jobs and boosting the economy.
For sure. And don't forget about innovation. They're investing in technology, and that's helping the whole fintech scene in India grow. New startups, new entrepreneurs. It's like they're planting seeds for a whole new industry.
Okay, I like that analogy. And of course, we can't forget about sustainability and good governance. They're setting a good example for other companies, showing them that you can do well and do good at the same time.
They're definitely raising the bar,
Yeah.
inspiring others to step up. It's like they're proving that success isn't just about money. It's about having a positive impact on the world.
Okay, so we've talked about their past, their present, and their potential impact on the future, but what about their own outlook? What's next for CAMS?
Well, the future is always a bit of a mystery, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they seem to be in a really good spot. They have a strong track record, a great team, a clear vision, and they're committed to innovation and doing things the right way.
Sounds promising. But what are some of the specific things that could affect them going forward? What trends should we be watching?
One big one is the growth of the Indian financial services market in general. The middle class is growing. More and more people are becoming financially literate, and the government wants to include everyone in the financial system. It's a perfect environment for companies like CAMS.
They're in the right place at the right time.
They are. And then there's the whole digital thing. It's not just about India. The entire world is becoming more digital. And in financial services, people want things to be easy, convenient, and personalized.
It's like the whole industry is getting a digital makeover, and CAMS is one of the stylists.
Ah, that's a good one. Yeah, they're investing a lot in AI, machine learning, the cloud, all of that. And they're working with fintech startups and big tech companies to come up with new solutions and stay ahead of the game.
They're embracing the future.
They are. Another thing to watch is regulations. The government is always tweaking things, especially when it comes to consumer protection, data privacy, and cybersecurity.
Companies need to be flexible and stay up to date.
Absolutely. CAMS has always been good about compliance, but they need to stay informed and work with the regulators to make sure they're doing everything right.
Always thinking ahead.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's the overall economy. When the economy is strong, everyone benefits. But when things slow down, it can be tough even for the best companies.
It's like the tide that lifts all boats or lowers them.
Right. CAMSIS needs to be aware of what's happening in the economy, manage their risks well, and keep themselves in a good financial position so they can handle whatever comes their way.
It's a balancing act, growing but also being prepared for anything.
It is. But, they seem to have a good handle on things. They have a great story, a strong track record, and a vision for the future. But ultimately, their success depends on how well they navigate this complex industry, adapt to new trends, and keep innovating and delivering value to their clients.
Well, we've learned a lot about CAMS today. We've gone deep into their past, their present, and their future. It's been a really interesting journey.
It has. And I hope our listeners learned something not just about CAMS, but about the Indian financial services industry in general. It's a fascinating world.
Definitely. This has been a great look at a company that's really shaping the future of finance in India and maybe even beyond.
Maybe their story shows what's possible when you combine innovation technology and a commitment to doing good. It's inspiring.
So as you go about your day, think about what you've learned about CAMS and the Indian financial services industry. Maybe you'll start thinking about investing. Or maybe you'll be inspired to make a difference in your own way.
Remember those trends we talked about, the challenges, the opportunities, and the importance of sustainability and doing things the right way. It's all connected, and we all have a role to play.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into CAMS. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.